Hi, I'm Mike from 1A Auto. We've been selling auto parts for over 30 years. We're dedicated to delivering quality auto parts, expert customer service, fast and free shipping, all backed by our 100% satisfaction guarantee. So visit us at 1aauto.com, your trusted source for quality auto parts. With the vehicle on the ground, 19mm socket with a big breaker bar or your tire iron, and loosen the lug nuts. Raise and support the vehicle. And just one note, on these wheels you may have plastic trim covers that you have to remove first, but they're all missing on this. But you loosen them up and then raise, support the vehicle, and remove the lug nuts. Once you've removed your lug nuts, and remove the tire. Use a large screwdriver or a small pry bar, and you can see the piston sticking out a little bit right here. We want to pry out. That'll push that piston back in, and it'll loosen everything up so the caliper comes off easier. And two 10mm bolts hold the caliper in place. 10mm socket with a ratchet to remove. With the bolts out, rotate the top back first, and you can take that off. And then remove the pads, pry away from the caliper, and pull them down. The outer one slides out, then the inner one just pulls out of the piston and out. And then just make sure that your caliper doesn't fall by putting a flexible retaining device on it just to hold it in place. I'm going to put a lug nut on just to keep it from flying off too far unexpectedly. So we have the emergency brake is a set of brake shoes inside, and what's happening is there's actually a lip that's not allowing the drum or the hub, not allowing the rotor to come off. And the brake shoes will stick on the back sometimes. You just got to keep working it off. Original rotor and pads from the vehicle, and new rotor and pads from 1A Auto. You can see the pads are exactly the same. They're going to mount exactly the same. High quality. This is the wear mark, so you know when you're checking your brakes. If that's worn down, it's time to replace them. And rotor, exact replacement. Has the surface for the emergency brake on the back. It's going to install and function just like your original. And reinstall. Put the rotor in place. If you need to, you can adjust your emergency brake by turning the dial down here, but normally if you can get the rotor on and there's a little bit of resistance, then that's a good starting point. I'm just going to put a lug nut on and tighten it up just to hold things in place while I put everything else together. And I'm going to use some good quality brake parts cleaner. From the back side, I'll wet a rag. Make sure I twist the rotor all the way. And then the front side, spray it on and wipe down the rotor surface. I reinstalled my old pad into the inside of the caliper and using a C-clamp just to make sure that the piston is all the way seated. You can see as we tighten up the C-clamp, the piston goes back in. Then we can remove that. And remove the pad and just note on the back side of the caliper, this right here is a surface that you want to be putting the C-clamp against. And we're going to put just a little bit of brake grease on the cast iron here where the pads ride. And then we'll also apply some to the back of the pads themselves to keep them from squeaking. Put the inner pad in first. And then put in our outer pad. And then just use some brake cleaner, clean off the pads, make sure you didn't get any grease on them or oil. And then just check these slides, make sure they're nice and free. If they're not free, you can pull them right out, clean them up, grease them, and put them back together. Ours are free. So, let's see here. Sometimes you have to pull them out a little bit when you're putting it together. Down on, and then put these bolts in. And you just gotta move the caliper into the right spot and they'll go in. And tighten these up. You don't want to over tighten them though. Remove the lug nut. And lift your wheel up in place. Start the lug nuts on, and then tighten them up preliminarily. And anytime you do brake work, you want to pump the brakes, make sure you have a good firm pedal before you move or road test the vehicle. With the lug nuts preliminarily tightened, lower your vehicle down and torque your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds using a crossing pattern.
Thanks for watching. Visit us at oneauto.com for quality auto parts, fast and free shipping, and the best customer service in the industry.